So, Josiah, you may remember the California episode of this podcast where I surprised you by being on location in California for the recording of it. And I have another surprise for you for this new episode of Blink-155.
I just want to say that was among the top moments of my life, like including my wedding day and the other ostensibly good things that have happened since then.
I like that you couldn't come up with a second good thing in your life. That was really dark. Because I was sort of curious. I was like, I would do the same thing. I'd say, like, when I got married. But then I was like, I wonder what the second best thing in Josiah's life is.
I don't know.
You were grasping
Also,
at straws.
like, I feel actually our wedding day was like whatever, too. Like, we don't really, I don't know. I mean, it's kind of sad if the wedding day is the best part. It's about the days of marriage.
Aw, so did you have a really bad wedding? Is that what you're saying?
No, not really. It was just like, it was whatever.
Oh, okay.
It was fine. It was mostly family. It was kind of boring.
Well, get ready to have the second best day of your life right now, live on the pod, which is I am on location, staying at a hotel inside of a casino in honor of
oh my God,
the end of Blink-182's career as they carry off into the sunset. With their Las Vegas residency and shows they are seemingly not announcing at other casinos.
Yeah, I noticed that today. I mean, so yeah, it's true. The casino thing, I guess we should maybe peek behind the curtain a little bit and reveal that we are recording this quite a bit in advance of when it's going to come out.
We are almost a week in advance. There could be new casino news by the time you're listening to this.
Right, casinos. It's true. But yeah, they did this. I mean, that's what giant people do is they announce a tour and then they announce like the shittier extra things after. So like presumably some asshole already bought like 5 weekends worth of trips to Vegas. And then they're like, oh shit, my hometown of Windsor is also having a Blink-182 casino show.
Yeah, it's thoroughly distressing. Like I remember a couple of years ago when Weezer was doing Casino Rama, which is like the sort of big, sort of outside of the city, sad nostalgia act spot near Toronto, and people were like, "Oh my God, Weezer is a nostalgia act," and I was like, "That makes sense to me." Somehow, Blink surprised me more, even though I think you and I had different reactions to this announcement.
I don't even understand why I was so sad about it.
Yeah, you were distressed.
I was just like, this makes me feel sad. It's because I believed them when they said that their next album was going to be like experimental or something.
I mean, maybe this is how they're going to fund their highly experimental album. Like, you got to do, one for them, one for you. And they're deep into them for them right now.
But like, how are they going to, how much funds do they need is the other thing I'm trying to figure out, because like they must be raking in the cash. They haven't like updated their set, like in terms of the actual physical set or the set list in however long. Like they still have that like light up fuck thing and the confetti at the end. They probably just like keep it in a garage the 2 months that they aren't touring. Yeah,
well, I mean, we got to assume that Travis needs money for vintage punk and hardcore shirts. Matt Skiba needs money for
Ducatis.
Yeah. And I don't know. I don't have a real sense of what Mark Hoppus's vice is that he's feeding with these shows. Like Disneyland? I feel like he tweets about going to Disneyland with his kid a lot.
Disneyland is the missing pop punk element that we've barely touched on.
Oh, do you think it sort of sits in there with baseball and Star Wars? Like, do you think it's up there?
I think so, definitely. Mm-hmm. Like, I think Disneyland is a very pop punk place. Even just through our Twitter, which seems to be popping off lately, people keep interacting with us, and I'll look at their page, and they're like, they love pop punk and Disneyland. So I think it's like... But I don't really understand. Even that doesn't really go together with what I consider the extreme depressing nature of a casino.
Well, yeah, this is what confused me about your reaction to it, and several others. A friend of the pod, previous guest Jake Goldsby was thoroughly bumming on the timeline. And like, what do you guys think Blink-182 is? Like, this is the
that
thing.
Makes me wonder what you... I'm also confused by you because you once told me that Vegas was like your favorite place on earth.
Yeah, I think Vegas is
confused
magical.
By that.
Yeah.
But what does that mean? Like, I don't understand.
I mean, Vegas is
Even when I still drank, being in Vegas made me be like, I don't want to drink anymore. This is so upsetting.
What is so inspiring about Vegas, and on some level, I think now makes sense with the whole Blink piece, is that all of the creative energy and the ingenuity from an engineering, like structural perspective of America, all of the great culinary minds, and the most talented people in all kinds of fields, all of the fucking money in America has gone into making this fake city in a desert for people from the Midwest to go and like eat at a buffet and drink a yard-long margarita at, and see a band like Blink-182 sort of drag their carcasses on stage and entertain them so they can pretend that they're 18 again. I think it's just the most like tapped in, fully American experience you can have. And America is amongst the most interesting countries in the world because it's so fucked up because they do things like build Las Vegas. And I just like I am enamored of it every time. I just want to look at it and soak it in.
You like Vegas from like a cultural critique perspective.
No,
you're not like, oh my God, it's 8 a.m. and I'm drinking a Slurpee full of tequila.
I mean, I love that. Like, I'm not better than that. I love drinking tequila Slurpees at 8 a.m. Like, I'm human. But I like to pretend that my interest in it is like elevated and academic.
And also, it's not even that wasn't really what made me sad about it. I think it was just truly just like it feels like a shrug, and it feels like they're just wringing out the maximum amount of money. That like it's funny because they sort of dodged a bullet by not playing Firefest, but even the fact that they were considering playing Firefest was like what is their goal right now? Are they just like are they hoarding money? Does Mark Hoppus know something through being in the Illuminati that we don't know, and he needs to pile up all the cash that he possibly can?
I mean, maybe he needs money to invest more into the Stars Academy, or like to secure his place on the time travel vessel,
or maybe because Tom gets a sweet cut of that cheddar.
Yeah,
that's why
they're just doing this to pay Tom.
It could be like maybe playing one show is actually really only like playing half a show because Tom gets so much of that cash.
How much cash do you think he gets? Do you think he gets 6 to?
Actually, okay, I see what you're saying.
8.
No, but you're like a fucking suit. Like how much do they get paid? How much do like major label bands get paid for a show? Like I wish I knew what like even Mac DeMarco got paid for a show. I wish everyone. I've tweeted this before, but you know how there's that website Celebrity Net Worth? I wish there was like indie Celebrity Net Worth.
Right. I mean, I think those sites are very inaccurate. Like I have seen another guest of the pod and friend of the pod, George Pettit of Alexis on Fire and Dead Tired, tweet a screen cap of his Celebrity Net Worth, and he was like, "I assure everyone, like, where is this money? I would like to have it."
Right. Well, it's I guess it's hard to know like what is net worth? Like, does it include say your masters are worth? Like, because I know Ian MacKaye is worth like $25 million or something according to that. But I don't know if that means. And speaking of Vegas, Fat Mike, who has that like horrible punk vacation home out there that I would actually love to stay in.
Yeah, like that's the thing. Doesn't that sound fucking amazing?
He's also worth like apparently $20 million or something. But regardless, I wish I could know like how much my friend who's in like a kind of successful indie band was making, or I wish I knew like what's Blink-182's guarantee.
Do you think that like eventually this podcast will get popular enough that people will start searching for us, and therefore like there will be information aggregated on celebritynetworth.com or whatever it is?
Well, I feel like at the very least there's probably like a server at your work that you could just like open, like just double click on it and find all the guarantees.
I mean, I can tell you how much those bands get paid to play like a gig for a corporate brand, but that's going to be, more than just their like normie rate. But I'm sure we could get into like what does it cost to play an event for, Samsung if you want.
Well, they must be getting paid quite a bit to do a Vegas residency, I guess.
Well, it's got to be like I mean, the Vegas residencies, like, because I've read other artists kind of talk about them. I mean, artists like Celine or Shania Twain, and it's great because you just get to live there. But because it's, a constant cycle of people who are traveling from like other shitty places in America and around the world, it is like touring in the sense that you have these new audiences every night. They tend to be like pretty drunk and stoked, or like reverential or what have you. And in the case of, people who are based out of LA, you just like literally fly in. So like guaranteed part of that deal, because they're also reopening or they're opening a new venue inside of that casino. Part of that deal is for sure that they
punk club.
Yeah,
they're fucking DIY.
So like part of that deal absolutely is that I'm sure the Palms is like flying them all on a private jet, like to and from, like, they probably go home because it's literally Friday, Saturday night. Like they probably go home after the show Friday. I mean, they're people with families and lives. Like they're probably getting paid fucking great. And I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't wait to go. So what about 6-8, Josiah? So we knew we needed to do.
Well, it's kind of funny because I'm complaining that I thought they were going to make this experimental album, and this song proves that they should absolutely not experiment whatsoever.
Yeah, there's things about this song that I want to like because I like bands that sound like this. Like it's like they're trying to do an impression.
Like, so what does this sound like to you? Because this song is so confusing, and I'm even more confused from reading the Reddit and seeing that everyone loves it.
What?
And I'm just,
That's not right.
I know.
So to me, it sounds like, it could be like a Snapcase song. Like that, it wouldn't have been out of place in an era of post-hardcore that I still think fucks. And then just like Mark can't deliver on it. And I actually think Skiba's parts are like not good per se, but at least tonally kind of fit the structure that they're going for. But I mean, I don't know. Yeah, because I said this to you before in chat where I was like, it sounds like a song that I should like. What do you think this song sounds like?
Well, I always thought Under Oath immediately because it just sounds like I don't even know, like post-hardcore, like mall screamo kind of shit. And then I was validated in that because somebody shared an Under Oath song on the Reddit that sort of has a similar part. So I'll play you that. But it pretty much, of course, like because I just see Christian music everywhere. It's like
we can't get through an episode these days without you being like, it reminds me of Five Iron Frenzy or whatever.
Well, somebody did also say that it sounded like a Skillet song, which is another deep Christian reference. And then when I was searching 6-8 on Genius.com, I found a Genius entry for a band called like 68, like the year 1968, which is members of the Chariot. So I think like no matter whatever I search, maybe it's just Google is like so primed to me, but it just immediately goes to Christian music.
Well, I mean, that is a true fact stated about Google. Because do you remember that pundit? Someone pulled this up on Twitter recently because I think it was the anniversary of it.
I think who was Ashley Feinberg.
It was like, shame on you, Google. This should not be your top search. And it was like him searching for a woman's first name, and it was autofilling a porn star. And and people were like, dude, that is 100% based on your browsing history.
That doesn't happen on my computer. But instead of just like letting it go, that guy just
doubled down, and then he
argued with everyone all night.
And so that's sort of where you're at, I think, is that like I don't know that you fully accepted the fact that like Christian music is your life.
I like that instead of a porn star autofilling, it's just Christian music.
it's just Skillet.
Okay, well, here's the Under Oath part that someone thought sounded similar.
And do you jerk off to this too?
Yeah, please don't listen too closely into the mic.
Okay.
This is called I Don't Feel Very Receptive Today. Now, also, I will say, I only liked Under Oath with the first singer. And I wasn't planning on doing this, but just very quickly, there are a few Christian bands, and I think it's only Christian bands where this happens, but like they'll completely change every single member in the lineup, but still be called what they were called.
Yeah, I mean,
Like Zayo is like that. I'm pretty sure. I don't think a single person in Zayo is from the original lineup.
I've actually always wondered about that because you get that with nostalgia acts a lot to bring it back to only talking about that shit, and it'll be like just a few people, or maybe it's the one guy, like it's like Everclear and it's just Art Alexis and a bunch of other people. But you're like,
Yeah.
okay, that was the band. It's usually that. It's either just the singer or everyone but the singer. Like, did you ever know that Ed is not in Live anymore?
Damn.
I know. That's an aside of an aside.
For a little while, Under Oath didn't even have that little that American Girl doll guy drummer, the drummer that looks like an American Girl doll.
He does, but
he's back in the band now, and they say the F word now.
Do you think
so? I don't know.
that the Christian thing though has to do with like, do other people own the band name? Like, the Christian music industrial complex is so real and poorly understood by people like myself.
It was so real. I think it's also like, at this point, every Christian band comes back to write an album about how they're not Christian anymore.
Right. But do you think it's like managers who own the name? Because I actually do think you're right in that there's no other genre where that happens.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really strange. I think it could be some sort of ownership thing. It could even be that if they are still religious, that there's people like donating church money to what they're doing, you know? So it could be like it's like a cause. I don't know. It's really weird though. Like it's like a specific Christian metalcore thing where like it can just be entirely different people and still the same band.
Do you think there's church money in podcasts? Like, if we were to say this was like a Christian Blink-182 podcast.
I mean, it is. So
It basically is. Jesus Christ. Oh, Jesus Christ.
yeah, there you go. See? All right, let's hear this. Except theirs is less boring than Blink's.
Yeah, like that's actually, I was kind of bummed when you stopped it. And usually I'm praying for you to stop the songs. So that.
Well, to get out of the Christian zone, I saved a bunch. I wasn't going to play them, but I quickly will. So here's another one that a lot of people said, this band, A Day to Remember, which I don't even really know what that is. I feel like I'm too old.
They were blowing
I think I missed
up.
This.
They were blowing up when I was like finally kind of falling out of like going to Warped Tour every year. But I think the last Warped Tour I went to, they were like the big band. And again, I also wrote for Alternative Press, and they were basically on the cover every other month.
Between the Ronnie Radke issues.
Yeah. Very problematic, Alternative Press.
Yeah. This song is called "The Plot to Bomb the Panhandle," which is very. That seems like the kind of song title that I would have been into in 2001.
Yeah, this is very. What was the name of your screamo band again? The Hand.
The Hand.
It seems very The Hand. I don't know any of The Hand's titles, but based on your description of your aesthetic,
it's that vibe. That was what I was into. Some long ass song titles. Okay, here we go.
I've learned to let go.
This style of music makes me feel so embarrassed, even though I'm just in a room by myself.
You're playing it for like 5 seconds. You're afraid.
I start crumpling up into a little ball. There's one more that I wrote down before we talk about it a bit more, but Mudvayne, that's new metal, right?
Yeah, Mudvayne was, and I think they were Christian.
No.
Well, maybe it was like Mushroom Head. There was like.
Wait, really?
I don't know. I don't know that they were Christian so much as they were definitely Christians. You know, like
okay. Hang on. What you mean to say is they're not a Christian band. They are Christians in a band.
Right. Yeah, I forgot that I learned that nuance earlier.
But I don't think you're right. There's no way.
No, I think it was Mushroom Head. I don't remember. This was also when I fell out of new metal.
No, Mudvayne is this guy is in the band called Hell Yeah, who are like hilariously corny.
Okay, yeah. I mean, that could also be Christian.
Hell Yeah is so funny. He also had a band called Cold White Christ, all one word.
So that's an interesting signal.
Oh God,
Sorry, man.
I hate this episode so far. Okay, let's hear how this song sounds.
that is me. The dead are rolling over in this hole thickening.
Why'd you
That
play
was
more of that one? That was awful.
I've never heard Mudvayne before. That's what they sound like.
I guess. Yeah, I don't know, man.
That sounds like a band that like people who work at a pawn shop would start.
It's yeah, that's super pawn shop vibes. You know what though? I think that's like the Under Oath one sounds the most like it. Then I just think we're getting into like it's easy sort of hardcore riff territory because I think there's like there's an Alexis song that sort of sounds like that. There honestly is like a Junior Battle song where we kind of tried to sound hard that like sounds a little like that.
Yeah, I guess that's kind of what I was gonna say is like I can see why people hear it in these songs, but it's because the Blink-182 riff is so generic and so like lazy.
Yeah.
Like all of these other examples that we've played are more interesting musically. It's
Yeah,
like the same
I
idea, but
to
then
that
there's
Under
like
Oath
different
song for a minute for sure.
There's different things going on. Like the guitar's not just doing the one thing over and over again. But as soon as I heard it the first time, I was like, oh shit. And it's funny, I forgot about this song when Ben Cook was talking to us and saying that he's glad Blink-182's never tried to be heavy. And then I remember when I heard this, I'm like, I think this was them trying to be heavy. And with like Matt Skiba doing his little yelping and stuff, his like yelling part.
It's definitely born from the same, I guess, motive potentially on their part as a song like Los Angeles. And it makes me extremely grateful that the only one of these songs that made it on the album was Los Angeles, because it's clear that they were experimenting with this sound like quite a bit.
Yeah, like that there's that other song that I'm dreading the episode called Bottom of the Ocean.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that one, but it's mortifying.
I mean, I'll be honest, like prepping for this episode was the second and third times that I've listened to this song. Like I probably put this on.
Here's another little peek behind the curtain. I shared this on Exclaim when it came out, but I don't remember ever hearing the spoken word part in the middle. So I have a feeling I probably didn't hear the whole song when I was sharing it, because
like, this is fine.
Often you're just doing it quickly. You don't. It's not a review. You're just posting a fucking link. So I don't think I heard it, but I was like, "What is this spoken word part?"
Well, maybe there's a different edit, because have you ever listened to the not radio edit of what's it called? Down with the Sickness, the Disturbed song? Because you would never have heard this if you had only listened to the sort of PG radio edit of the song. But the actual album version has like an extended sort of spoken word performance where the Dan Dramian.
You really know a lot about Disturbed.
I know the name of the guy. And
That's great. That's already too much.
And it's like this whole like, "Mommy, don't come in here, Mommy. Why are you doing this, Mommy?"
What?
And I honestly don't know what the lyrics or the verses of Down with the Sickness are, but like I don't see them as being like a weird mom thing. Anyway, but it goes on for like, I want to say a full minute, and I may be exaggerating, but you should check it out.
Absolutely, I would love to. That sounds amazing.
Yeah.
I like, as I've mentioned, I only really got into nu metal about a year ago. So I've only been listening to Korn seriously for like a year. I was always too snooty for it at the time.
What did you listen to in like the 8th grade?
I listened to Christian punk and Christian hardcore.
Right. Okay.
And Blink-182.
Wait, but hold
And
on. You
also,
did
like,
listen to Christian
and also like
nu metal.
Godspeed You Black Emperor.
I get it.
Yeah,
Because you told the guy from POD that he was going to save music or whatever, right?
yeah, that was just like, I'm trying to think. I mean, I listened to like really cool things too. I was like probably listening to Godspeed at the same time as that era.
Yeah, but that's
like I was a real mess.
That's the beautiful like thing about that era, and I feel like maybe we've dug into this before, but where you could simultaneously like hold those two things in high regard, and it didn't seem weird to you because you didn't have a bunch of friends and like people on the internet telling you that one of those things was shit and the other one was like, actually
there was this
cool.
There was this band that I liked called Training for Utopia, and they were basically like Christian Fear Factory. And then they started this band called Demon Hunter. That's, I think, still around, and they're like a Christian Slipknot or something.
Yeah, Demon
So
Hunter's
that's like
very controversial. Demon Hunter, there was like a whole thing with them being, because they're very pro the U.S. military. So when it was revealed that they were using like metal for a lot of,
because they're into hunting things.
Mm-hmm. But they're using, like Metallica songs for torturing people or the advanced interrogation techniques. And Demon Hunter was straight up like, use our tunes, man. We fucking love it. And it was insanely gross and very Christian, I'm sure, to use your music to torture foreigners for oil. So thanks, Demon Hunter.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm not saying I endorse Demon Hunter, but
it sounded like you were saying you fucking love Demon Hunter.
So when this song came out, I guess like first, so yeah, there's this generic fucking like metalcore riff, and I don't want to talk about music theory for too long because we're gonna have our first repeat guest, Chris Dadge. Just because even I said to him, look, can you recommend a guest for this episode? This is what it's about. And like his response to me was like 3 paragraphs of drum theory. So I was like, okay, never mind. You'll just
he's
be the guest.
Guy. Yeah.
Yeah. So he'll hopefully school us on what's going on. But my understanding, and I think it's because I've always been bad at math, but I was pretty good at fractions. And my understanding of 6/8 is that it's basically just 3/4.
Yeah,
maybe
it's just
a little
3/4.
bit different. Like it's not really that impressive. And you mentioned The Hand earlier, and we had a song that was like our intro, and it was 7/4, and it would be like similar, like sort of drop D tuning, like trying to be heavy, but we would just make it 7/4 to be more impressive because my brother is like a really sick drummer, so we made it 7/4, but all we did was just like add an extra note, and it was like not that impressive because unless you're like Dream Theater or something. A weird time signature is probably still going to sound normal, but also this isn't even a weird time signature. It's just like a waltz.
It's the second most common time signature, right? I think we can all agree. Like most stuff is 4/4, and then some stuff is 6/8. That's kind of it, right?
I think we're going to learn. There's probably like 2 nerds who are mad right now, and I think we'll learn that there is some sort of difference between 3/4 and 6/8 to do with the phrasing or the where the emphasis lies, but it's a very like it's like musical semantics basically.
Well, yeah, I used to play in like a community band, and I played in bands and orchestras all through like middle school and high school, and I played percussion, so this was like the only thing I ever really had to think about. And I recall asking at one point why some things were 3/4 and some things were 6/8 when we played them the exact fucking same. And the answer was something like that about phrasing, and I retained none of it because it did not matter to me, and it doesn't matter now because we have a guest who will, explore those nuances for us.
But what I just want to say off the top is like it's no matter what, it's not impressive enough to name your song after it.
Well, there's something really high school about doing that because I feel like
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why it reminded me of The Hand because it's like we thought we were like fucking Rush or something because we were doing this, adding one beat to the song in a very awkward and obvious way.
And then did you call the song that? Did you call it like 7/4?
No, I don't think
song?
it was just, it didn't have a name, but because even that then we thought that it would be like this cool like wink at all the heads out there,
all the time signature heads.
Yeah. But like being stoked about a time signature is lame enough, and then naming your song 6/8.
No, it's really, it reminds me of like every song in my first band always being named after whatever thing we thought we were doing. We're like, this is drop D song. This is and you're like, it's so fucking juvenile.
That reminds me of another thing from my band, The Hand. When we were recording with Jesse Gander, shout out Jesse Gander, I hadn't written the song titles yet, which we've already established were probably long ass sentences.
Yeah. And like references to things, would they be like references to action movies or like books you hadn't read?
Totally. But the lyric sheet that I had printed out, I had just put the like what key it was in, so I'd remember what was what. And the bass player Steve, he was like, "What is this song called?" He thought it was called A Minor, because it was A minor, like written all together. He thought that I was like doing some weird like Spanish poetry.
So influenced by like the surrealist movements and. So, why did you say Steve's name like that? By the way,
Did I say it weird?
you were like our bass player, Steve.
That's funny. Yeah, we used to fight a lot. Me and that guy.
I could sense that. Yeah.
I think I was trying to decide if I should say his last name or not, but I feel like he might be the kind of person who doesn't want his last name said. So it's fine. But
let's move on from him then.
Yeah, it's a real sore spot. No, like I just don't get it. I feel like you're like 55 years into your career. Sure, it's interesting to switch it up with a new time signal. It's also so funny. That's how simple and dumb their songs are. That like it's in the press release that it's a different time signature.
There's a press release about this song that flaunts the time signature.
That in the release that they sent out with this song, and also they released it like this. So this was the third single released from Deluxe, and this was released at the time when Firefest was like dominating the headlines.
Right.
So they had some fucking SEO clout at the time. So this was like this got picked up by everyone, and yeah. So the song was originally called "Rushing Rivers," which is like not very creative because it's what he sings.
It sounds like a Christian band.
Yeah, it does. But it's a lot better than calling it 6'8".
Yeah,
I'm so mad about it. But anyways, so they were trending so much that this was written about on every blog, and them talking about how it's their most insane song yet. They said something like that, like it's the craziest Blink-182 song yet. But you know how, like, you must know about this when news stories kind of get aggregated by these weird robots on YouTube.
No.
What
Like, the fuck are you talking about?
Have you ever been like looking for a news story on YouTube? Like maybe you want to like when I'm working, I want to maybe embed like the video from
right,
E-Talk
and it's just
or
a
whatever.
computer voice, and there's like some shitty animation, right?
Yeah, or just nothing. Like so, basically, I was just searching 6'8" on YouTube, and something called Today News uploaded this. So I thought rather than me explaining the news story anymore, I'd let this person explain it to us.
Okay, sick.
Blink 182 just shared another brand new song off the upcoming deluxe edition of California, and they've dubbed it the strangest song they've ever recorded. The track is called 6/8 because of its time signature, and the band say it's one of their favorites because it's aggressive. The track listing of California Deluxe features 11 new songs. Of those new track we've also heard Misery, Parking Lot, and the 30-second epic, Can Single Quote to Get You More Pregnant. California Deluxe releases May 19th. The original album released July of last year and quickly went number 1. Have a listen for yourself below and let us know what you think.
I like that it got really informal. What you think?
I also like how he said, I can single quotation mark T get you more pregnant.
Yeah. There are, just hearing that made me so distressed about how many more episodes we have to do of these fucking bonus tracks. Like, it's like 11 new songs. I was like, are you fucking kidding me?
That's 11 weeks of our life. How many I think we've only done one bonus track.
We only did Parking Lot. That's it.
Is that true? Did we do another?
I
so we have.
I think that's it, man.
Oh my God.
Like,
so
we got to start doing these.
2.5 months of these horrible deluxe songs.
This is how we spend our life.
And people listen. That's the worst
This
part.
is how you spend your life.
I don't know. I thought that Robot Man was pretty helpful in explaining it.
No, I'm good now. So can we stop this episode?
Yeah, let's end it.
You did say that despite the fact that we are shitting all over this wretched fucking song, there are people that like it?
Yeah, let me read you a quote that I've written down.
Okay.
From Reddit. I can't remember the name. I just wrote it with... The way I wrote the note is everyone is insane? Question mark, question mark, question mark.
Okay.
Someone wrote 6/8 is easily one of the best songs, if not the best song from the California era, and is personally in my top 10 as far as Blink's overall discography.
That's insane. This person has not. This is like how you only have ever had one good thing happen to you. This person just hasn't heard other Blink-182 songs.
Yeah, that must be the case. But I mean, that was like one of I want to say like because also this is sort of like peak now internet release time. So there are countless comments and threads on Reddit, and they're overwhelmingly talking about how this is everything that it should have been all along. It's Skiba's influence making it so good. It's everything that anyone's ever wanted out of a Blink song.
What about this song sounds like it's influenced by Skiba? Because this man has put out a lot of music. It's not just Alkaline Trio. He's got his solo stuff. He's released demos. He's got his like various side projects and acoustic albums. And he's never done anything that sounds like this. It's not
well,
like
I think
he
it's
has
because it's dark, maybe.
Right, but like in a very high school way, which I guess arguably Alkaline Trio is pretty dark in a high school way, but that's arguable.
Well, people have also said that this song sounds like AFI, and I've never really been much of a AFI man, but the two AFI songs that I've heard in my life remind me of this.
I had AFI is always very closely tied to like one of those moments where you feel your life kind of changing a little bit, which was I was into like some of the songs. Like I had a mixtape that like this girl had made for me that was like one of the first, like it was like Screeching Weasel and Trunk, and it had AFI songs on it, but it was all stuff from Answer That and Stay Fashionable, which I still think is a fucking sick record. But then I stopped giving a shit and they got super embarrassing and gothy or whatever. But my sister was really into it. I remember my sister went to see AFI at the Opera House. And
your sister's a big fan of the pod, right?
Yeah, so sister of the pod, Suzanne, who loves the pod.
Never sends you mean messages about how awful you are on it or anything.
No, she's very positive about the entire experience and isn't mad when she finds out that she's been mentioned and has to listen to an episode to see what I've said.
No one tell her the timestamp.
Yeah, yeah. So if you are a friend of my sister and you're listening to this podcast, don't let her know. Just say it's somewhere. I don't know. So she went to go see AFI, and like I went to go pick her up, like in our parents' car, and I was like, this is like I am now, and I was probably like fucking 17, but I was old enough to be like picking up my younger sister from a punk show that I was not interested in at all. And that was probably the first time where I was like, I'm old, which is a thing that I've been saying now for 20 years.
Yeah.
But anyway, the point is I never really fucked with AFI. They got a couple of good singles, but
there was another band from Abbotsford that started. Actually, you know what? I think it's exactly. Oh my God. I think this band started off as a Christian pop punk band.
Oh my God, dude! You gotta
called
stop.
Martial Law. No, but they were called Martial Law, and then every single member of the band changed, and it was an entirely different lineup.
Really?
Still called Martial Law, and they became complete AFI worship.
Sick.
And like they were like gothy, but they started off as I think, unless I'm mistaken, I think they started off as a Christian pop punk band that used to cover the Titanic theme song in a pop punk way.
That's tight. That's,
But yeah, that's my one like AFI connection. I'm like, oh yeah, I hate how bad Martial Law got.
I hate how bad this
stand
other
that shit.
Christian pop punk band was.
Yeah. But so have you looked at the lyrics of this song?
No,
at all?
I didn't. I listened to the song like when we decided to do it, and then before we started talking, and I otherwise have not engaged with it on a serious level.
It's worth just quickly looking at the lyrics because, like, it's such a fucking mess. Like, don't read the Matt parts yet, but looking at the Mark parts, it's like it reminds you, like, wow, Mark is somewhat poetic. It's like pretty corny. It doesn't work. Like you're right. The Rushing Rivers part, no matter what he's trying to say, it just sounds Christian or it sounds corny. But I think what he's saying, learn to swim in rushing rivers, is something to do with like. Someone said it might be about global warming, but either way, it's like you fucked up and now the river is flooding everything, so you better learn to like swim in your mistakes or whatever. So it's like kind of an interesting, evocative metaphor.
Yeah, like looking at the lyrics right now, I mean, they're not. This is not my cup of tea, but they're not bad. Like, I mean, he can turn a phrase, and this is not like
because I remember him. He was going to school for like English Lit or something, or he wanted to. and I've never been able to really see that too often. Like sometimes he's good in like a earnest way, but I've never really seen when he's working with metaphors for him to be as evocative as this, at least.
Yeah, although the learn to swim in rushing rivers, breaking on the shore, like, do rivers really have shores? Like, I think of the shore, this is a little bit of like maybe his California bias poking through, because like rivers have banks, an ocean has a shore. So I don't know like how substantial these rivers have become due to global warming that they have shores, but you know,
I
think
know.
he's misspeaking here.
I think you're being a little bit too literal with Mark's beautiful poetry that he's crafted for us.
Sorry, I didn't realize that you're standing for 6'8" right now.
Well, even the you just want to tie yourself to the mast. If you click that on Genius, it's like tied to Ulysses. So it's like
What? No, there's no way.
apparently tied to the mast is a Ulysses pact.
I also love like the explanation in the sidebar. 6'8" is one of Blink-182's most unique songs from their discography. I mean, that's kind of true, but
yeah, that's but they're not supposed to be challenging like this. I don't know. Either way, so this is like Mark like showing that he's read some books, which is I'm jealous of.
Is that why you hate it? You're just mad?
But then, like, when they announced they were doing this deluxe version, they went back into the studio and, like, quote-unquote finished these songs. Like, I don't know if they were all fully sketched out. And I think they might have added the Matt Skiba stuff after. Or at least when this was released, when this was released, somebody said that his yelling became more clear. Like, I think they replaced the root track. Because, you know, it's like Life of Pablo, how Kanye kept editing the mixes after they were already out.
Yeah, this is very proto Pablo for sure.
I think it came out after. I don't know, but either way, someone said that Matt Skiba's like yelling became more clear later on. They listened to it, and other people agreed. But we know everyone on the internet's a fucking moron, so that might have just been Mandela effect.
Oh,
but either way, so now let's look at. Actually, they're not. I don't think they're all here, but I have them copied. I'm going to send them to you. So people have. Blink-182 admitted that this is what he's saying because it wasn't on the lyrics officially at first, but he yells. So Mark's talking about like fucking rivers and pirates and fucking like metaphors and Ulysses.
Yeah.
And then Matt Skiba yells, this shitty guitar needs some personality. This shitty song needs some personality. And then later on he says, this song needs some fucking personality. The third time. This song needs some fucking personality. Anybody? Personality? Give me some fucking personality. What happened to personality? And then at the end of the song, he yells, how do I look? Disappointing. How about I disappoint them more? I am a disappointment. How about I disappoint them more?
What? That's what he's yelling?
Yeah, he's like... So Mark's singing about who knows what. Some sort of like... pirate shanty about the issues of the heart. and then Matt Skiba is just like being extremely insecure, saying that the song needs more personality, but the song itself, according to them, it has the most personality of any song they've ever done because it's in such a fucking crazy time sig.
Well, maybe it only has that personality because he was yelling it. Like maybe that was all like live to tape. Maybe the song was originally in 4/4 and he just started screaming and they just rearranged it right quick.
I mean, it could be. I actually I did like the yelling before I read what it was. I thought it was like cool, but now that I know that he was yelling that, it's horrible.
See,
it's like
I love it.
Breaking the fourth wall.
That's the thing is it's like it turns into like a funny games kind of scenario where Matt Skiba is daring the audience to indulge their more sinister instincts.
Well, I mean, like everything, of course, people think this song is about Tom, but I guess more clearly, they think this is Matt Skiba addressing the haters, so to speak, because they've complained that he's a disappointment and that he doesn't have enough personality and whatnot.
But like, when would they have written that part? Like, would he have had time to respond to haters yet?
Well, yeah, because like he played the music thing before they even recorded California. Like he was in the band playing shows for like a good 6 months to a year, I think, before California came out. And then this came out a year later. And that's why I'm saying I think they went back and added this yelling part because he had time to like to read all these. He had time to see the notes we were collecting for the pod ahead of time
and respond accordingly. I like that there's a secondary thought here, which I think you didn't read yet, but this is a continuation of the article snippet that you sent. Every time Matt screams, "This song needs some fucking personality," the drums and the rhythm change and become more aggressive, as if Travis responds to Matt, "You want some more personality? You got it, bro." Who fucking wrote this? Where did you get this?
I just want to clarify, it's not an article. It's from Reddit.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's not. Journalism is bad, but it's not that bad.
I mean,
yet.
if you told me this was from like babe.net, I would have been like, yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, it's true. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's just it's kind of like the song title where it's like, if there's a way to like address the so-called haters without being so on the nose and obvious about it.
No, see, I think this is the only way to address haters. I think this is. I kind of like. I don't know. To be honest, now that I know this is what he's saying, I think it's insane, and I actually like that more because it just feels like so stupid, and I respect that.
But it's just so funny how also like I don't think Blink-182 songs were always like this, where like the two people singing are just singing entirely different songs that have nothing to do with one another.
Yeah, it's not like when you look back at the sort of golden era of like Mark and Tom trade-offs. Like imagine if in Pathetic it was like one of them singing about being pathetic and the other one singing about like
being awesome.
Yeah, I guess I was like, what would tacos.
He's like a loser, pathetic, and then the other guy's like, I'm fucking sick. I'm so tight.
But no, see,
I'm buff.
That almost works because those thoughts are like connected.
It's true.
Like one
That's
guy
true.
is downtrodden,
and then at
guy...
the end of the song, they're like, "Let's call the whole thing off." So, since we're talking about Skiba and his like Skiba insecurity, at the risk of ranting about Skiba too much, there are other podcasts that are pro Skeebs. So.
Also, I'm sorry, I get that you're making a joke right now, but this podcast is 50% pro Skeebs.
And I'm not anti-Skeebs either.
Oh, you're anti-Skeebs. Don't pretend.
No, that's the thing about you fucking Skeeb cucks, as I call you.
What?
You can't.
You've never called me that.
Just because I mean, how many times? What episode are we even on? Just because I'm critical of something doesn't mean I don't appreciate it. That's the whole point. It's like do you watch Terrace House? I'm guessing you don't.
I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, well, if the people who watch Terrace House will know, when they're critical of each other in the house, it's because they're concerned for one another and they want to help each other. So when I'm critical of Matt Skiba's involvement with Blink-182, I'm not necessarily saying I hate that he's in it.
Right, you just want him to improve. Or be more like Tom.
No, not even that. Like just, I don't know. And this is so. Here's the thing that I wanted to talk about with Skiba.
What's the thing, Josiah?
Here's the thing. So this was sent to us by Miles Grimmer, who I've shouted out before. Premium device giveaway on Instagram. You should definitely follow him. He's a very funny lad. Have you ever heard of a band called Avoid One Thing?
No.
So Avoid One Thing, they released one album in the early 2000s on Side One Dummy.
Okay.
And they are a side project of the Mighty Mighty Bosstones bassist Joe Gittleman.
Okay. Yeah.
And so they have this was resurfaced when Matt Skiba joined Blink-182. They have this song called Pop Punk Band that Matt Skiba guested on. And it's kind of like, it reminds me of like, I know this happened even with a local rapper that I was in a beef with when I used to work for an alt weekly. But and it also happened with Eminem. But these rappers love to write songs that are like, yo, every fucking rap song just has a singer on the hook, some chick singing the hook, and then the rapper, and it's fucking bullshit and it's not real rap. And then fast forward 5 years and those people, that's the only song they ever release.
Right, yeah. Every Eminem song now is just like the worst pop song with a bad hook.
So, yeah, it's just kind of ironic because if you look at these lyrics, and I'll play you the song that Matt Skiba's on. Well, let's just dig into this song and then talk about it for a sec.
Okay.
I wanna be in a pop punk band, caught in the ride in pop punk man. I know what I'm gonna wear, I'll have spiky pop punk hair. Pour us, get us to the chorus, just can't stop it, got it at Hot Topic. No need to read the lyrics, shade. locked up in the pop punk world. Our love, it can't be wrong. I wanna sing like Tom DeLonge. For us, get us to the chorus. Just can't stop it, got it at Hot Topic.
Yeah, that's sick. Have we already played this song on this podcast or not?
No, I had never heard this until.
Oh my god! Okay,
yesterday.
so that's like buried deep in my reptilian brain then, because like, yeah, that's crazy. Is it like that thing where, you know, someone gets a job and then you find tweets where they're like being like really racist about their new employer or something?
Yeah, it's kind of like, I mean, it's just, I guess it's also like, I'm sure this has happened to me in my own life like 35 million times. Every time you have a point of view that's like edgy, you eventually get older and stop giving a fuck and then change. Like, I think it's okay for that to happen. It's just kind of ironic and humorous, but it's also really funny to be listening to this Matt Skiba part where he's kind of feeling sorry for himself because people aren't accepting him when he was that same person.
Yeah, that's so fucking strange. What a bad song also. Like, that's not even a good like joke pop punk song.
In fact, it proves once again that like Blink-182 is not very easy to imitate in a valid way. Like that just sounded like, it kind of sounded like the All the Small Things Kids Bop cover. Like it just sounded fucking limp.
Do you think they like had to address it at all though? Like, do you think there was like we just need to talk about the song and then we're good and then we're fine? But like it must have come up, right?
I mean, I don't know. It seems like it's buried pretty deep in this. Like it's like Mighty Mighty Bosstone's bassist side project from 2002.
With that one album. Maybe if we ever get Mark on the pod, we should play that for him. Be like, by the way, I want to show you this. Like, I want to create like a real like Maury type environment between Matt and Mark.
I would like to think that one day we'll do a Sclusy that's like Dr. Phil with Tom behind backstage, and we'll just sort of have everyone confront each other. Oh. It'll be so good.
Yeah, that sounds great.
But yeah, I mean, I guess that's the weird thing about. We talked about this actually with a different Deluxe song when Skiba was shouting out "Boots and Braces." Is like he does have more sort of punk signifier knowledge than the other guys.
Well, he's been in the trenches longer, right? Like, whereas Mark stopped being like punk in
I would
his
say
20s. Like,
when, like, I would say Lemmings is a very honest and good farewell to trying to be punk. And
yeah,
that's why I love that song.
Yeah, that's totally fair. And so, and that's the thing, is it's not like he's been trying, like, it's not like he's a pose dog, but this band got so fucking popular relatively early in his life, and like, you might still love the Descendants, but just you're not tapped into it. You're not touring with those bands anymore. It's not your world. Whereas like Alkaline Trio and like everything Skiba's kind of done like on his own has like always been like, that's actually his community. Like they're a pop punk band, but they're, you know, on a lower tier and therefore a little bit more connected to what was happening in the streets.
That's why I kind of feel like maybe, and again, you Skiba cucks, just calm down. But I feel like he might actually be selling out more here. Because Mark and Travis have established a long time ago that they are a pop band and they don't care. But Matt Skiba is seemingly coming from a place where he was critical of this style of music. And now he's just doing like a casino oldies tour.
Well, yeah, everyone's critical of everything until like the opportunity arises, right? Like that's why everyone loves Ian MacKaye so much, because like he is the only person that kind of had it put in front of him and didn't want it. Everyone else, it's like all kind of part of this like act they play until the second that like you dangle the paycheck in front of them. I don't think there's anything wrong with that, because having money is sick, but you know.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I'm trying to hammer home too, is like, I understand it, and I'm the world's biggest hypocrite about many things, but I think all I'm
you
saying
think
is
Matt Skiba is a sellout?
Well, yeah, and I'm not even saying that's bad. I'm just saying I think you can see him jumping the shark by joining Blink-182 in a real way.
Yeah, I mean, like, I know you don't look at Josiah. I know you don't really mean this, but also, like, how old do you think Matt Skiba is? I don't know.
I thought you would know.
He's
if only there was a way to look it up.
Nope, and I have no technology in front of me to do that. But like, you know, his job is like touring musician. And so I don't know if
He's 42. So yeah.
He's been in, like, it's not like he has a side gig. Like, he has just been a touring musician his entire life. And Alkaline Trio is not getting any more popular. I mean, I just can't imagine saying no to it. And therefore, I mean...
But why? I'm not saying that it's a bad thing. I'm saying it's kind of interesting that someone could not sell out until they're like 40 and then sell. Like, I think I'm not even saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's kind of like it's like an anomaly.
Right. Do you think that there's an opportunity for all of us, is what you're saying?
Hopefully, yeah. Maybe it's never too late to sell out. I hope so.
Maybe, like, because, you know, we have wondered in the past, like, just how Christian is Blink-182, and perhaps they can prove their Christian, bona fides by having, like, you replace Mark and me replace Travis. And then moving forward, like, you know, on the next casino round, it'll be you and me and Matt Skiba proving that Blink-182 is a true Christian band with no original members.
Right. But we also don't mention God ever.
Right. Yeah. A true Christian band. Yeah, because Matt Skiba always has to be like, the devil.
So do you want to see a little... this is pretty stupid, but who gives a shit? This whole fucking thing is stupid. Here's a nice little, fucking on this day style, very shareable content. Here's the clickbait of the episode.
Oh, wow.
That somebody found. Apparently, 6/8 was released 1 year later than Bored to Death. And lyrically, there are some people think they're linked because in 6/8, Mark sings, "In between whispers and screams, you permeate my soul. Lost between nightmares and dreams, you decimate this home." Ooh. And then on Bored to Death, he sings, "There's an echo pulling out the meaning, rescuing a nightmare from a dream. And it's a long way back from 17, the whispers turn into a scream." So this person thinks that Mark Hoppus did this intentionally as a sort of callback.
Do you think that?
Guess.
Okay.
Absolutely fucking not. I think he likes these metaphors and he was writing like 50 songs or whatever.
Like, you return to the same shit. Like, anytime I'm writing, I'm always like, ooh, I really like whispers and screams. Then you just use it a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Then you're like, it's thematic. But it's not. It's just because there's only so many words that you know.
Right. I think the fact that two songs with similar lyrics were released exactly 1 year apart is just proof that they were releasing too many songs in general.
Yeah, like this whole, and we're gonna have to talk about this on 9 more episodes, but like the entirety of California Deluxe is so unnecessary. And this is just like a reminder of like there's ideas in here that aren't good at, like, musically and lyrically. There are ideas that were better executed in other songs. Like, it just sucks that we have to do this.
I know, but we have to because we're bound by blood.
That's true. Yeah, we made a solemn pact. This is embarrassing. Why is this the clickbait? What are you talking about? Like, what about this?
Oh, I don't know. People love like, oh, this album turned 17 today. Let's talk about fucking the album that turned whatever. Like, people just love anniversaries of albums. So
well,
dumb.
because some people love their anniversaries because it was a special day for them, Josiah.
Right.
Not everyone had the miserable wedding day that you apparently had.
So there's quite a few like YouTube reviews of this song, but they're all pretty atrocious.
Okay, so you're going to make me listen to all of them anyway because that's sort of your fucking deal? Or
no, I have other treats for you coming up, but. One of them is I found another podcast doing a whole episode about Blink-182's 6/8.
There's another Blink-182 podcast.
I think so because it's also one of those podcasts that's really more like a vlog. So it's on YouTube. Okay. It's called Highbrow Comedy. It's been nearly a year since this came out and it's gotten 25 views.
Okay.
And this is it's quite a economical runtime of 8.5 minutes, which I don't know how you really get to the meat of the song in that time. Inspiring. Yeah, I don't really know. But I don't know if you want to see these. You may as well take a look so you can go on the journey with me. But I have a little snippet of their review of the song.
Okay.
So Highbrow Comedy, I see their related views. They have Matt Skiba versus Tom DeLonge, who's better for Blink. So I think this is truly another Blink-182 podcast. I think it's safe to say.
There's so many. How are there so many?
We thought we were such special snowflakes.
How did we enter such a crowded marketplace?
Okay, let's hear what these guys have to say about 6-8.
I like it more than I hate it.
Okay.
So it's pretty okay. Lyrics are pretty gay. A lot of them are kind of weird. I'm fine with it the way it sounds. Some parts are kind of awkward, but don't have a problem with it. Still good, still catchy. I listened to it. Still a good song. But the part that really got me and kind of made me cringe a bit was the part where Matt Skiba talked.
Oh, you know what? I'm
And I was
glad
like,
you
that's
brought
kind
that
of
up.
cool. It was a really cool idea.
No, it's not.
But, well, violence, Tom talks.
Just like a couple of intellectuals really...
Is that what our podcast sounds like, though?
I pray to God that it doesn't sound like that.
Like, is that...
That guy sounded so stupid.
I think that was just like the equivalent of the My Pet Sally, like reacting to your own snake's funeral. Like, I don't know, man. I think that's what we sound like. Like the one dude, I feel like kind of had like my like horrible upspeak. And
Yeah, the guy who was talking the whole time.
yeah, yeah,
And then the other guy was like the more like negative one.
yeah. Like I kind of just feel like I just had a glimpse of my own life, and I did not like what I saw.
Well, we have also been, to truth be told, there's been a couple people who have said, look, if you would like an LGBT person to come on and help you with the sort of dancing around
Which
like gay
we
issues.
should do when we do the next like homophobic thing or
Yeah, oh, absolutely. I really do want to do that.
Yeah.
But we alone have been sort of confronted for being sloppy with it, and then the Sam Sutherland of this video called the lyrics gay.
Right, but I just like to point out that the Sam Sutherland of this podcast has never used homophobic slurs to describe any Blink-182 related or adjacent material. So
Right, but this other highbrow comedy podcast that we wrote and shot,
right, our
You
alts,
did.
yeah, our homophobic alts.
I'm seeing that they have a episode about A New Hope. Oh my God, and they're from Ottawa.
Well, because I was going to say the dude who I thought was the me definitely had a Canadian accent, but like a very Canadian accent. Like occasionally when we like pretend to be more Canadian than we already are.
Yeah, also, I think we sound way more Canadian than we realize.
No.
A lot of people say that. I think what I really like about it is that, and I don't want to toot our own horns too much, but it's funny to me that this highbrow podcast is billed as a comedy podcast.
Right. Yeah.
Like that was like the least funny thing I've ever heard in my life, and it sounded so stupid.
Again, like I'm feeling very glass housed right now, and I outside of the fact that again we have never used homophobic slurs to describe Blink-182, I'm just too worried that that's what we do on this our improv comedy podcast.
Right? Yeah. I don't know. Maybe you know what? Maybe I will just play you the other review. Why not?
Oh, why not?
I already
right?
have it saved.
Okay.
So this is, and you know why? Because I've opened this twice, trying to decide if I should play it or not. And in that time, after doing that, it has 5 views. So I think this deserves another listen.
Okay. Yeah.
So this is JTB review, published on May 3rd. I mean, how do you even get that few views in that amount of time? It's kind of, it's truly impressive. But yeah, you take a look at this guy and we'll hear what he has to say about the song.
Hey there, guys. John from JTB Review, really quick here. Just wanting to talk to you guys really quick about the Blink-182 song, /-8. I was looking on Spotify, and I randomly just found it. I have a playlist they make for me, and it's called Release Radar. It's pretty much every month they give me 100 songs of all the people that I like, all my artists, and they give me a playlist of new songs. So I was like, Blink-182? I was like, what? They just came out of California. All of a sudden, the song comes on, and it's 6-8, and I believe it's not part of the California record, if I'm not mistaken. And so I was just like, what? And I turn it on, it's like the weirdest Blink-182 song I think I've ever heard. I mean, it's not a bad song, but it's just odd, and it doesn't really sound like them at all. It's somewhat heavy, but it doesn't really fit with the Blink-182 sound. If I think I had to rate it, I would give it like a 7, just because it's just a weird Blink-182 song, and it's a different sound by far. You'll hear it, but for me, it gets a 7 out of 10, so... Alright, well, I'm going to move on from this. I just thought that was a little add-in. I don't know if it's supposed to be like an EP for a, single for an EP or something. I don't know. But, anyways, I will see you guys on the next review. Thank you for watching this, and I appreciate it. Have a good day. Bye.
Josiah, what?
There's really a lot to. I like that he has. I really like that he has. He has a YouTube connection and a Spotify account, but no other access to the internet whatsoever. This is what will happen if they pass those bills to control the internet.
Right.
Your knowledge of things will be limited to whatever you've access to.
I've got
so
the
you'll be
Spotify
like,
tier and the YouTube tier, and I don't know
they gave
anything
me this
else.
song. I have no idea what it is. I might be wrong.
I have no
also
way of
love
looking it up.
both of these videos when they talk. I realize what it reminds me of is like when you're in a cartoon, someone has just hit a giant gong behind your head and you're like shaken and just like delirious from that. That's sort of the level of discourse that I'm experiencing.
So, like, first of all, that dude looks like Mike Muir from Suicidal Tendencies, and he's in this, like, dark basement with a Slipknot poster behind him. So, aesthetically, it's like...
And a lava lamp.
Right. It's super sick. Oh, God. Why... God damn it.
I'm glad I played it. I think it was worth it.
I know you're
I think
glad you
we've all
played it.
gotten what we needed out of it.
Yeah. Can we move on?
He does a lot of reviews, I've noticed. Like, I think he's trying to be the new Needle Drop.
Yeah.
He's like reviewing like Migos songs and stuff, trying to connect to the zeitgeist. So definitely follow JTB Review for more insight about what's on Spotify exclusively, I think.
My one thing that I love about that, and it's just generally like a stylistic aspect of YouTube that I'm a fan of, is the idea of introducing your video that 6 people have watched now, which is like 3 of those are you, I guess, by being like, "What's up? I'm John from JTB Review," or like, like the 5 people watching have like forgotten who you are, how they got there. Like it's like, "Oh, right, it's Mike." I was worried it was like Chris was filling in this time. I don't know. Like, are you worried about there being confusion in the marketplace?
It's true. So now I'd like to bring us to what's going to be my favorite section of the episode, and you're going to get really angry at me.
Oh my God.
I just want you to know that, like, searching the phrase Blink-68 on YouTube is a real gateway into myriad different universes and worlds.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of places we can go.
Okay.
I'm going to start with Walter Murch, who I believe is a video editing expert. And this is number 68 of 320 videos, so I assume that's why it popped up. Also because it's realizing that a cut is like a blink. So I guess that's where it says Blink 68 on that title there. So we've got this old man doing some sort of editing tutorial. So let's hear what he has to say about video editing.
So whenever you do something for the first time, it lose your virginity, so to speak, literally. You pay particular attention to everything that's happening because it's happening for the first time. And when I was editing picture on Conversation, I was very alert to the problems we were trying to solve, but also just to the physicality of what I was doing, cutting from one shot to another. And I had a revelation on the film where...
Thank you, Walter, for that sex analogy right off the top. Appreciate that.
Thank you, Josiah, for bringing Walter's sex analogy into my life. And I think all Blink-155 listeners, fans, and friends can agree that was necessary.
Right. Well, there's quite a few more, so let's keep going. This video is called 6/8. This is another one that you really got to see to believe, I think. This was uploaded by Luigi Plush Mushroom, actually just earlier this month.
Oh, wow.
So-
Timely.
So 6/8 is 44 seconds long. So maybe I'll play it and then we can talk about it after because it's quite visual. But let's hear what happens.
Wow! I'm coincidentally down here while they're up there. Hi, I'm Luigi. I just came here. I'm Knuckles. I'm Sonic. I'm Link. Okay, so.
Just a truly voyeuristic experience.
Yeah, this is like a
watching little
child
kid
filming on their cell phone of them like playing with their stuffed animals in like a driveway.
It's like Sonic and Luigi and Link,
Tails,
and
of
Knuckles, and
course.
Tails. The whole gang is all here, so it's real. I know people on the internet love Sonic content. So yeah, I mean that's just 6/8. It's allowed to be on this episode because it's titled the same as the song, and legally that's binding. You're not allowed to get mad at me. You swore that you would be dedicated to the
true.
song.
No, it's true. I am caught in a legal bind right now.
So I will, because I care about you, I'll skip the children's basketball game that I found and the piano app playing Twinkle Twinkle Little Star and the dad doing a drum solo. But, this one is maybe this one fits into covers. You never know. I mean, it's a girl singing into the camera, and it says 6/8. And it was uploaded in 2012 and has received 7 views in that time. But, it could be a cover, right? I mean, it could be. So maybe let's just hear what Rochelle Samantha did with her cover of possibly of 6/8 because that's what the video is called.
Hey guys, so this is my 6th video. That means only 2 more left after this one. But this one is Everybody Talks. Next one will be Oath. And then the one after that is just La La Land. Okay, back to Everybody Talks. Okay. Hey baby, won't you look my way? I can be your new addiction. Hey baby, what you gotta say? All you're giving me is fiction. I'm a sorry sucker and this happens all the time. I find out that everybody talks, everybody talks, everybody talks. It started with a whisper, and that was when I kissed her.
So
Was that the same song?
yeah, that's 6/8. I mean, that's the mad parts. I think it's important for people to know that the woman singing, because the voice does not really match the face at all. Because if I were listening to this podcast right now, I'd think they're playing like you just played the plushy child, and this is another child. But this woman looks like she's like our age.
Yeah, she's doing it. I think she's doing some sort of vocal fry a little bit.
Yeah, like it's an infantilized vocal fry, but that's the voice of a grown up. It's important for you to know, and that's all I have to say about that.
Covering 6/8 by Blink-182.
yeah. It's a unique interpretation. It's opened up my mind to the possibilities of the song, and I love it now.
Well, there's one last section of this area that I think that I don't know. I don't know how you feel about this section. I mean, I think it's important, but
I know you think it's important.
Another thing that I've learned through searching Blink 6/8 is that a lot of these, I don't know, what kind of TV do you have? What kind of TV do you have in your abode?
I believe we own an LG television,
Yeah, me too. So maybe you're not in that much higher of an income bracket than me than I thought.
What's the fancier television?
I mean, I don't know, like anything. I think LG is like pretty much the standard entry level television.
No, because there's like the Best Buy brand that's like
yeah, but
Dasani.
that's like that's like shit. Like it's gonna break. You may as well buy one on Kijiji. But I'm talking like people buy like Sony, Panasonic. They buy like the real shit. That's like the high end.
We don't have enough
highbrow.
supporters on Patreon for us to own Sony televisions, Josiah.
Well, what I've learned through 3 videos that I'm going to quickly go through.
3? Oh, my God.
Is that a lot of these high-end TVs, after you've had it for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
Some of them you might find are, you just want to watch the boob tube with your fam, and all of a sudden, you got this fucking, the TV starts blinking sometimes between 6 and 8 times. So there's a whole genre that comes up of people explaining to you how to correct the blinking. So I'm just going to quickly show you just 3 videos that I found. So this is the Sony Bravia KDL 40R 450A, the red light blinking 6 times error code. And so I can't really figure out what language the rest of this is in, but this man is wearing what I would call a fedora, and this is a 20-minute video. But I'll just play you a little bit at the start so we can kind of get an understanding of what's going on with this Sony Bravia.
السلام عليكم، الاسم ديالي كريم محمد، أنا من مواليد 1983، كنشتغل في المجال ديال الإلكترونيات. بالضبط أنا كنشتغل كتقني مختص في صيانة وإصلاح الأجهزة الإلكترونية المنزلية. هذا أول فيديو ديالي.
Unfortunately, he's quite sheepish when he speaks. Mostly here.
This is like actually the worst podcast that any and I don't mean this episode. I mean this entire project. Like this is like a truly cursed endeavor.
Well, moving along, the Stephen McCarthy, for his part, his video is only 9.5 minutes long, and it's entitled "Repairing the 6 to 8 Blinking Red Light Warning." So again, it's fully relevant to blink 6-8, so you're not allowed to complain about that. And what I like about this video, if you skip around, is that while he's showing us how to fix this expensive piece of equipment, he's allowed his cat to crawl all over the fucking thing throughout this whole video. So let's hear what he says at the start. And I also noticed that you can hear him listening to another tutorial in the background of this tutorial. So Blink-182, 6-8.
We'll start by pulling off the back plasma. It's probably 60 screws altogether. Take off around the edges and then from the centre. Remember, the main problem here is that we're getting 6 flashing lights from the front. So if you look right here, you'll feel that the power supply comes in from here.
Maybe that's not a different video in the background. He's just, again, speaking so quietly. I don't know why these TV people they just don't project their voices.
Yeah. Jesus Christ.
There's really nice spa music in the background. There's a man wearing very short shorts, barefoot. And it's, I don't know, I almost feel like this is kind of like an ASMR video.
Yeah, no, this is like a ASMR podcast now. It's lovely. I think it's hopefully people are feeling sort of their brains being massaged in a non-sexual way because people claim that
Sam, Sam, because I'm part of this community now, the Blink 6-8 community, I've learned that actually some people, it's quite divisive, these tutorials. They're very divisive. So Dave M here, Dave M has actually decided to, rather than let it's kind of like me with Matt Skiba, like he wants to correct the course. He wants to just sort of address the issues that are going on. So he's uploaded a video entitled Pioneer Plasma Pro 111 FD 8 Blue Blinks video number 62. So I guess that's where your 8 and your 6 are in that title there. So let's see what he has to say, because I think finally someone is projecting their voice a little bit. So let's hear what Dave M has to say.
Okay, this video I'm making not for the Mini Machine Shop, which is my channel, but I'd like to fill in some missing information that's on various YouTube videos. This is Pioneer's Pro 111FD. It suffers from, it runs for a little while and then all of a sudden you lose video and audio. Because I'm a computer engineer and I'm used to looking for different things, like motherboards, the BIOS will beep at you, trying to tell you what the problem is. 1, 2 beeps means maybe no video present, so on. So I was looking at the front of the set and realized the power LED on the bottom left of the set was blinking. And counting it, it was repeating 8 blue blinks. So I searched the internet for that, and there's quite a few videos and chat rooms that come up that all blame various...
Look, long story short, the tutorial, it's a different model, but it has the same hardware inside. So that's what he learned. It's like you can use the tutorials for the different model because it's inside, it's all the same. And I think that's a powerful message.
This is the worst thing you've ever done to me.
I got so happy when he said Blink 8. It was so close to 6-8. I wish he would have said 6-8, but yeah, he really sounded like Stephen Wright, the comedian Stephen Wright. I was getting a vibe.
I don't know. I've like blacked out and like ascended. I have no idea what's happening anymore.
And people say we go off topic too much.
No, yeah, it's interesting to sort of read those critiques.
It's kind of crazy to say that we go off topic when I've only played videos that have the song title in the fucking title of the video.
Yeah, no, there's no arguing that you are tremendously focused and that we are all the benefit of your just dedication to staying on one topic, for sure.
Do you want to hear covers?
No. Are there also covers? You can't do that and then have covers.
Well, that's what's happening.
Oh, fuck my... God damn it. Okay, so you got to pick, like, how many covers do you have?
Don't worry about it. It'll be fine.
Jesus Christ.
There's actually not that many. There's not that many.
In my mind, I was like, there's no covers. Neither of us know anything about this song. This is going to be... Every time I think an episode's going to be short and reasonable. Okay.
Sam, I've been searching the phrase Blink 6-8 for hours, yeah. And I don't understand why you're mad at me.
But you know that it's, like, okay to, like... It's just like if you do the work, you know, that could just be your own special thing, you know?
There are like probably 7 videos that I didn't play right now.
Oh my God.
I can't believe
there are only 7 videos left on YouTube that contain Blink, 6, and 8 that you didn't play. That actually does surprise me.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like I'm a what's the word? I'm separating the wheat from the chaff here. I'm making sure that we only play the best on here.
It's true. Yeah, this is an extremely wheat-based podcast.
So Claudia Vore, that's a great last name.
Love Vore.
It. Yeah, good work. Good work to her parents on that one. I assume. She's done a little mashup of Cynical and 6-8 acoustically.
Ooh.
But I skipped the Cynical part in the intro because I don't really care.
So it's not like a clever mashup or anything.
No, it's just like she plays it and then she plays this.
Okay.
The main reason I'm playing this is because her speaker makes a horrible pop sound, and I'd love for our listeners to have to experience it. So let's see.
You live in a world I cannot believe. You create a world I don't want to see. In your forest, a stand of dead trees, lost in the night. Do you ever think you'd live down the past? You just want to tie yourself to the mast, and your nightmares have come to at last, at least in your mind. Learn to swim in rushing rivers.
Other than the horrible snake hiss,
yeah, that was nice. You know what's funny though, and I mean this, and I'm not trying to make a joke here. Is like we've gone so deep on other stuff, and I'm so truly not familiar with the song that like when she was playing it, I was like, I don't think I know this. Like I don't remember any. Like I'm so disoriented. Like this is like when people talk about how you shouldn't like scuba dive at night because you can't tell which way is up, and you just swim in left or down, and you have no idea what you're doing.
You're processing a lot of information about flat screen televisions right now.
That's the thing. It's like I'm still thinking about the schisms in the plasma community. And so
Well,
I am distracted. But I actually thought she did a really nice voice. That was great.
Me too. And actually, I've heard this song enough that I do remember. I've had the chorus stuck in my head today. It's kind of a catchy chorus. And for once, I actually think a sort of teen bedroom acoustic version does the song more justice.
Yeah,
than
it's true.
This weird Under Oath version.
Like, actually hearing it like that, I was like, the melody's kind of nice. Like, when she got to the Rushing Rivers part, I was like, do I like 6/8? I don't think I like 6/8. I think I just like television.
Well, these guys, this band called Doggo, which is probably not a good band name. Like, don't take a buzzword Twitter joke that like Mark Hoppus would tweet and make that your band name, because it's not gonna. Like, imagine if your band was called Harambe right now.
I don't know. I would love to see a hardcore band called Harambe, because I'd be
Actually,
like,
I think
this is so embarrassing.
I'm pretty sure there actually is one called
course there
Harambe, like a hardcore 7-inch. It's like monkey themed hardcore. I don't know.
Oh god,
Fuck.
yeah, of course.
I'd rather watch more TV videos than that. But this band Doggo did a cover of 6/8 that is actually, I think they've sort of upped the ante of the metalcore aspects.
Oh, okay. I'm
So let's
not
hear-
interested.
Let's hear what Doggo did.
When you play it like that, the song makes sense. Like, if you told me that was like your brother's high school band, I'd be like, that song's pretty sick.
I mean, I would never think that it was sick, but I would. The first half of that I agree with, because it sounds like something that like you're forced to go to some battle of the bands to be a good relative.
Yeah,
and you just want to die.
Yeah, it
Like-
does. It's very Battle of the Bands. Like, it reminds me of every like show at the cathedral that I went to as a kid, for sure.
I've started to enjoy a tiny bit of metalcore sometimes again, but I think it's just like a genre that I'll never be able to wrap my head around. And like that singer was wearing like a backwards fitted hat and a Guinness t-shirt.
You know why
And then-
though? It's because you go to the gym, man. Like, when I started going to the gym, all of a sudden I was like, oh, I get it. Because like you can't.
I love imagining you like lifting weights while listening to that like fucking waltz.
Yeah, I'm just waltzing with the.
Learn to swim.
I love to do the iron waltz, as I call it. You know. That's my gym slang.
Yeah,
Doggo.
I don't know.
Doggo's an embarrassing name though. It is like, this band's called Pupper. Fuck off.
Yeah, I know, and I gotta shout out Retail Nightmares, who is friend of the pod and previous guest Jessica Delisle. She started saying the word "puppo" all the time, like many years ago, before it was a thing, and it sort of became this endearing thing that she would always say. And on their podcast, they have Puppo of the Week, which is like someone that you, either a person or just a cool dog that you saw, or like you shout them out, and it's very like charming. But it's been completely ruined by all the fucking post-Doge meme assholes of the world. So I feel bad for her, because she really had ownership of this phrase "puppo," and now it's kind of like, I don't know.
It's time for her to reclaim her word. You know. I'm in support of it. I'm not going to say it, but I think if she wants to say it, I look more power to her, man.
Yeah, like I guess what I'm saying is, when I hear people hate on Doggo, I just think, well, just don't come after Jessica.
Okay, yeah, she's allowed to say it. She gets a pass.
Yeah, she gets a whole pass. So because I'm a nice person, I'm going to save the one that I know you'll like for last. And here's one that well, maybe you'll like. I don't know. I mean, this.
I'm going to be a nice person. I think, oh, this is the last one, and then you're like, I'm just reordering them.
Well, you can keep listening for a more detailed description of the schematics of various television sets, because I really do think we've barely scratched the surface on that topic.
Yeah, that's an upcoming exclusive. That's going to be this month's exclusive.
Yeah, we're going to get whatever that guy's name was. And I'd also like to get that horny video editor guy on the pod, Walter Murch or something.
Yeah. Editing is a lot like making love to a woman. Like, what are you talking about, Walter?
Why are you so horny, dude?
Yeah. I mean,
okay,
don't kink shame Walter. Just because he's old.
He gets off on editing. He loves, as soon as he cracks up in that Avid editing suite, he just gets rock hard. He loves Creative Cloud.
That's it, man. Just crank it in the cloud.
So this guy, Anthony Mitchell, I sent you the wrong link, actually, because you should just look. I want you just to sort of look at his SoundCloud while you listen to this, because I actually need your help here to understand what. Like, if you click the tracks feed of his SoundCloud, he's based in Canada, and like he has uploaded a shit ton of covers.
Okay.
And so let's hear this one, and then let's just. I mean, I'm so confused about everything right now.
Yeah, you're in a state right now, so let's get you through it.
Okay.
You live in a world that I cannot believe. You create a world that I don't want to see. And all the forests still stand of dead trees lost in the night. Did you ever just want to get down from the past? Did you ever just want to tie yourself down from the mass? All your nightmares have come to you at last, at least in your mind. Russian rivers, breaking on the shore, and making these broken streets face towards.
I think that guy's heard the song as many times as I have.
Yeah.
Like, I felt like he was like, I got it, man. I got this. And he did not have it.
Well, like, is he trolling is what I'm trying to figure out.
I don't know. That photo,
did he just
like,
do a million? Did he just do a million acoustic covers as a gag?
That felt too sincere to me. I don't know. What do you think? I assumed it was sincere.
I thought he was trolling, and then I played a couple other ones, and then now I'm just even more confused, because I'm just going to play you the intro of his cover of Radiohead's "Creep," just so we can get a little bit of context, because I'm so disoriented by the Anthony Mitchell's very existence. So here's the "Creep" cover.
This song is called "Creep" by Radiohead, and it kind of redefines me with everything that goes on and on. We're all weirdos. Everybody likes to make something out of nothing and turn me into something I'm not. But without any further ado, this is called "Creep" by Radiohead. And if I fuck up, do forgive me, because don't we all make mistakes? I don't know, I have to put it down on a pedestal. But anyway, here's "Creep," Radiohead.
We don't need to hear the actual cover.
What the fuck, dude? I think he's being serious.
Yeah.
Do you not?
And now I think I'm with you now. I'm just trying to understand him, and I feel like I might be obsessed with him and want to listen to all of his covers.
Yeah, I mean, just the idea of like when he's like, okay, I'm going to get to the song, and then he has like several more things to say.
Yeah, and then there's like a little bump on the thing. Like I think he might have been about to say one more thing.
Yeah.
But I'm just feeling scared to keep playing it because I've made you watch TV videos.
Yeah,
but
as you should. I'm glad you are afraid of me, because that's the one thing that I really desperately need you to take from this episode.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like this is a true outsider artist, and
yeah, that's basically Jandek.
That was a bad Blink cover, but I'm fascinated by this person.
I'm glad you brought him into our lives.
Yeah, like I mean, this is what I love. This is why I dig on the internet, because I find this kind of thing where it's like I just feel so confused and alive.
I'm just confused, but I think it's important that like one of us feel alive at this point.
So this is what I've saved for you, because it's extremely Phantom of the Opera.
Yes.
This girl let me see here. It's not loaded yet. Her name is Chiz Time. Chiz Time.
Okay.
There's a Russian word underneath. I think she's in Russia, maybe. This only has 35 views, and I've opened it at least once today.
Okay.
And she's sort of in this, like, her camera looks so shitty while she plays. It's like, it's so low res, but yet halfway through the video, it changes angles. So she has at least 2 cameras set up. And she's playing in front of this sort of ornate wallpaper that looks very, like, royal and regal. So yeah, let's hear Chiz Time.
I just chizzed.
It's Chiz Time.
So that was sick.
It was really good, and it really does redeem the melody from. I realize now that it's quite a good melody.
Yeah,
like,
totally.
Both the verse and chorus are really good melodies, and especially the switch from minor to major, which is obviously in every pop song, but it really pays off well here with the dark and bright tones.
Yeah, it totally works. So, Josiah, what are your final thoughts on 6/8?
Oh, no.
What?
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
You had some real fear in your voice.
Josiah, what are your final thoughts?
I don't know. It's not very good, but I like these songs that have nothing on the internet so that I can just sort of go on a journey and just find other pockets and windows into life.
Yeah, because this was an interesting window, because this has happened a few times on the pod, but this is how you interface with the internet. Like, this is, for people who haven't maybe listened to other episodes where you've done stuff like this, like, this is 100% your experience online every day.
Yeah.
Like, you're not having a laugh right now.
No, like, you should click, like, if you see, like, an ad, click it. Like, you get those weird things that say, like, the secret that doctors don't want you to know, and there's, like, a mushroom growing out of a guy's toe. You should click on it. Why wouldn't you click on it? I don't get it.
So my final thought is just like, I'm blinking 3 times for free me from this prison. If you
that sounds like a TV issue.
Okay, we have a guest, right?
Yeah, Chris Dadge. So it's going to be about the song again now. He's going to teach us. He's going to teach us some things about time. I mean, I've been teaching us things about time too and how to spend it, but he's going to teach us about like time signatures.
Sick.
Blink 182 just shared another brand new song off the upcoming deluxe edition of California.
All right, so congratulations to Chris Dadge on becoming our first repeat guest. That's how does it feel?
It feels really good. I didn't honestly, I didn't think this is something that would ever happen. And I'm just going to take it as it comes.
Put it on your next grant application or something.
It's on the CV already. I've already typed it out. I'm just waiting for this to be over so I can hit save.
Perfect. So, yeah, like I knew this song is confusing to me for a lot of reasons. Not just technical reasons, but in terms of aesthetic and taste and everything. But when it comes to the technicalities, I messaged you on Facebook asking for you to sort of recommend someone to talk to, and then even just in those 2 sentences, you were already teaching me. Mm-hmm. You can't help. You're just so generous with your knowledge of the skins.
I try to spread it around as much as I can.
So, I guess to get started, as someone, I think I've mentioned this already, but as someone who, the only thing in math that I wasn't terrible at was converting fractions. So in my mind,
you weren't terrible at that.
That was the only thing that I was kind of okay at.
Okay.
So to me, 3/4 and 6/8 are equal. So I guess for someone like me, I mean, maybe even you can explain it more than that for people who don't know 3/4. Not everyone has my wealth of knowledge to know what 3/4 time is.
We're talking about musical time signatures.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So how is 6/8 different from 3/4?
Well, the time signature has the two numbers. The one on top is the number of iterations of whatever the bottom number is. And the bottom number signifies whether it's an eighth note, a quarter note, or a half note, or a whole note, or a 16th note, possibly too. When you get into super complex types of music, you have music that is written in 16th note time, which is just usually very small numbers of just small bars with a few beats in them. But 3/8, 3/4 and 6/8.
Yeah. They're the same. I mean, ask any math teacher.
The bottom number refers to how many, what type of note it is. So if it's a 4, you're talking quarter notes, and you know that there's 2 eighth notes in a quarter note.
Right.
So then if you're to convert them, a 4 into an 8, then the top number would double in the same way.
Okay.
So you're just talking about, a bar of 3/4 has 6 eighth notes in it.
But you're probably playing the quarter notes, or you are playing the quarter notes.
You're phrasing it a little differently. It sort of implies a different way of feeling the time signature. Often 6/8 won't be like the metronomic value, like of the 8 won't be particularly fast in a 6/8. I mean, in this song, it's a little more up, but they're generally like it's a stronger pulse on a sort of like the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Okay.
And then, but 6/8 sort of implies a sort of thing where you get like a bit of a backbeat function where it's a bass drum on the 1. And then this is sort of, generally speaking, it's sort of expanded upon from like having a bass drum on the 1 and a snare drum on the 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
right.
6.
Okay.
And that sort of trade-off between the bass drum on the beginning of the bar and then the landing on the snare creates the same kind of effect as a backbeat in normal rock music like this.
Right.
The trade-off between boom, is... Dun, 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 da, dun, dun,
yeah, okay.
It's a similar feel, but it's just got a little bit more space in it because the distance between the backbeat and the initial downbeat is a little further. And that allows you to do different things within the beat.
Okay, so those bottom numbers are always going to be in 4s, a multiplication of 4?
Or it goes down to 2 or even 1, but you don't see music written in 1 at the bottom very
right.
often. It's that would be probably the modern composition, sort of a contemporary classical piece. But, you normally see, 2, but more commonly 4, 8, and 16 are in most kinds of music. That's what you would see.
All right. So, first of all, I just sat with you and listened to this song.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, I've listened to it many times for this goddamn episode.
Yeah.
I guess my first question that I've been wrestling with is 6/8 really that impressive? And is it impressive enough to name your song after it?
It's not impressive. It's not. It's a pretty.
I feel like it's kind of the feel of what you're describing is sort of the second option of what you would write a rock song in.
Yeah, exactly. It's like one of the well-trod rhythmic structures of a rock pop piece of music. It goes back a long time. House of the Rising Sun. I don't know if you know that track. Who's the original band that did it? The Animals did a version of it.
Yeah.
They might have done one of the original versions, the popularized version. It's in 6/8, a song like that. It's got that
right
kind of feel to it. So it's not a new thing, and it's not impressive.
Because to me, in naming the song this, it was originally called Rushing Rivers, which is what he sings in the chorus.
Oh wait,
and then,
really?
Yeah, but then they because I know you have a little theory
I had
about the name.
Theory. I didn't know about the name.
I should have let you go first,
okay,
maybe.
That's wild. Well, no, I
in my mind, they were so like mind blown that they were able to write a song in this obscure time signature that they decided to name it after that. Because even when they released it, they were sort of bragging like, "This is the weirdest song we've ever written."
Really? Well, I definitely see why there's some weird things about it. I mean, one of the things that's kind of makes the fact that it's called 6/8 or this song being in 6/8, it's like, it's kind of, I mean, some parts of it have a real strong sort of 6/8 feel. But for instance, like I think it's the verse where the drum beat gets quite a bit more it gets a bit it's a little more hard to follow. It's a little bit more syncopated, and it's like at that point it's like almost irrelevant that the song is in 6/8. It's just in some time signature that you need to know to maybe figure out this drum part. I mean, it's like
he's playing outside of the lines anyways.
He is, yeah. And it's like I sort of thought that 6/8 maybe came from, you know how when you're writing tunes and they don't have a name yet.
Yeah.
They have a thing. Sometimes they become a file name if you're working on the computer, for
Right.
example, like New Song 1.
Yeah.
I think there was who's the band that had New Song 1? It was called that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was like, anyway, there was a song that was called that. And it
Or
was,
maybe Song 2 by Blur. Could that be one?
it was definitely, I don't think it was that one, but maybe it came from
could
that.
have
I don't
been,
know.
right?
That seems almost like a bit early for that era, but it could be same kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's just like, this was the song that's in 6/8, so when they were making the record, that's how they, oh, you mean the 6/8 tune? Hey, do you want to, hey, you guys want to try the 6/8 one again?
Actually, a little plug for us here. The Prenup album's coming out in May.
Yes.
And when I sent it off to Jay Arner, who mastered it, he was saying that he always has files that are called like Final Mix 7.
Right.
Like, this is the last mix ever.
Yes.
Number 6.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Actual real final mix down track.
Yeah.
Number 37.
That'd be great if Blink had a song called that. Like, I swear to God, I swear on my life, this is the final mix.
There's another record. I'm sure there's going to be another record coming, right?
Oh God, I hope not.
Well, yeah, for you that's a real consideration, I guess.
That's an extension of my sentence.
Good few more months on you there.
Yeah, I think that's a very innocent way of. I feel like that's a very
But
view
so
them
they
in a positive
changed it.
light because you
They
think that it's
changed
a
it,
working
though.
title.
I thought that it was a working title
That
that
makes
got
them
carried
seem
over.
so much more relatable.
It does, yeah. I mean, I want to relate to these people. That at some level, they're human beings. Like I think on the last time we talked, I sort of maybe expressed a differing opinion about that. How they're not real human beings, but there's something going on
There
in
must
there.
be. They at least look like human
or
beings.
maybe there's that other guy who came in. Maybe he's a little bit more like a real human being. And
Matt Skiba, yeah,
yeah.
He's the spoken word guy on this song.
Oh, jeez. Okay, he's got a lot to answer for.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it really the vibe was when this came out. All the press releases and everything. The vibe was like we're so proud of
the name.
ourselves. We're so proud of ourselves that we've released a song in 6-8
Because
times.
see, that surprises me a bit, just because I feel like they would have had there must be other songs that they've done in 6/8, and there must be. They must have talked about it before. I'm sure he's the kind of nerdy drummer who would have brought that up at some point and told the guys, "Hey, you guys, this isn't 6/8 time."
They've always talked. So, I'm getting phone feedback. Let's listen. So they've never had another song in 6/8 because the whole vibe of Travis being in the band is that they are sort of providing the simple rhythm track by just playing boring chords, and then he's the soloist the whole time.
But I even feel like they, as just those two dudes, they could have written a song in 6/8 even before he was in the band. Like I just feel like that's how common and normal I think 6/8 is. It's like I'm sure they've written a song in 6/8 at some point in their career.
Well, I truly don't think they've ever deviated from the simple 4 on the floor
Really?
kind of thing. But
maybe I'm overestimating.
Yeah,
them.
I think you might be. But come to think of it, I feel like maybe Green Day must have.
Well, actually, that's so much. My reference point for me with a band like this, the closest reference point that I'm intimate with is a band like Green Day, who I love dearly, and they were a formative band for me. But I try to think of them in that context, and I was thinking about Green Day, and they have some songs that I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head that was. And I guess "Welcome to Paradise" it's kind of a weird triplet-y feel. It's not quite a 6/8, I wouldn't say. There's definitely some stuff going on that tune, and Longview has a very rolling triplet feel. I couldn't think of anything off the top of my head, except for their later stuff, which I generally tend to ignore.
That's kind of what I was thinking too. When they're doing like a bloated 7 CD
anthemic,
album,
heartfelt,
like that Uno Dos Tres one or whatever.
Right.
Here we go. Reddit, thankfully, has come through again. So according to these Green Day songs are in 6/8.
Oh yes, lay it on me.
Brutal Love, Rest, Nobody Likes You, I Don't Care, Jesus of Suburbia, Carried Away, and then there's one before the lobotomy that's 7/8. Apparently, I don't know any of these songs off the top of my head.
I kind of feel I'm a little embarrassed right now. I don't know. By name. I don't know any of those Green Day songs.
Well, let's hear it. Let's throw on the Jesus of Suburbia one.
Yeah.
Just to hear what it sounds like.
This seems like it would be American Idiot era. I'm
I think
getting that
yeah.
flavor from the title there.
Yeah, I think.
Yeah, let's put it on. Let's get to the bottom of this.
Okay, so a little update. We shuffled around and put on some Green Day songs, and this one called "Brutal Love," I believe.
Brutal Love, yeah.
So that one, the Jesus of Suburbia bit, we couldn't.
It was more of like a rolling triplet 4. It wasn't really like a true 6/8 at all. It would be a very fast, inaccurately designated 6/8 if you wanted to read it.
Are you calling into question the people of Reddit with their musical theory?
I think I am. I think I am. With all due respect. With all due respect.
Much well-deserved respect.
Oh yes.
Okay, so Brutal Love here.
Turn out the lights, close your eyes, turn up the silence, the heartache of your life, dance forever under the lights, this brutal love. Oh, how you want it, you're begging for it, but you can't have it, even if you try. It's in the clutches. Yeah.
This is helping me understand it because I had always thought of this as you were saying a 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3.
Right.
But there's something about emphasis and something about. Is this where meter? What does meter mean?
It's just to do with where the beats are falling, like how you're counting the bars. So it has to, what I was saying before is it's a bit more like you get a group of 3 and then another group of 3. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. But the emphasis on the beginning of those groups of 3 is a little bit different. So you get a like 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and so then it becomes like a phrase of 2 groups of 3, which is 6, and you got 6 of them and they're 8 notes. So that's how you got the feel, and then it sort of loops around when the bass drum or like the downbeat. Because again, in that song, this Green Day song we're listening to, it kind of like comes to the root note, the low root note on the 1 of every bar, and it sort of like it's just sort of suspending action on the 4, 5, 6 part. So
in a way, it's like the band effort is helping determine what it is as well. It's not just the drummer deciding.
Totally, yeah. I mean, you could choose to arrange that song in a different way, but you'd probably play maybe a slightly different guitar feel, or when the percussion. I don't know if the drums even come in on that song, but if there were, the percussion would help guide that kind of thing.
So we're talking about Green Day and Trey Cool, and that is someone that that's very he's sort of the anti-Travis Barker in that he still seems very respected by, or maybe more so respected by drummers, but he's in drum magazines. He's like part of the drum industry, but he doesn't particularly, from an outside perspective, he doesn't seem like much more than a punk drummer.
I guess not. He was, I mean, I think part of it is just the people who were around to see the ascent of Green Day to that initial level of fame that they got with Dookie and sort of the trajectory they had after that. There's a lot of people from that era who are active now who it was the first time you heard a drummer doing really interesting and crazy things in a really popular rock context. I mean, Offspring was kind of like that too, but they were never quite as popular, and they also kind of, technically, they weren't as good players as Green Day.
Right.
Or at least their records weren't produced in a way that made them seem like they were.
And also they're horrible and bad.
Yeah.
Just aesthetically.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. But they were kind of like, in my mind, they were like, right on par. They were kind of like the 2 bands that I was super into at the time. But yeah, the Green Day stuff. He did a lot of interesting drum stuff. Even Longview is a really interesting song. And then there was the song that led into it, Chump, I think, was like it had that sort of ending where the drum beat sort of sped up and it sped up and it sped down, and it starts going, and then he sort of starts playing free there a little bit, and then it's like some sort of edit, like an edit in the studio, but it sort of fades into, and it's just like, holy shit, man, this guy's got some mojo on the drums.
But it's very tasteful.
Very tasteful, yeah.
Because
He didn't
I
really do
noticed,
gross
like,
stuff.
You were getting pretty grossed out while you were listening to this song again.
Yeah.
I find that for me personally, I'm probably just used to it, but I don't get as grossed out in this song as I did with the last one we did, No Future, because that's during like a ballad part. He's doing this atrocious gauche, loading the dishwasher sound. But this one I don't notice it as much because I feel like maybe it's because the song itself is so dumb that I just don't. I'd rather just hear drum wanking than have to listen to the song.
I'm definitely more and more coming to like expect it when I hear them. These like sort of displays of virtuosity. Like it's like, I mean, there were some parts of that song that weren't very different than a band. And I mentioned these guys last time too. I think in some context is Dream Theater.
Right.
Like Dream Theater is a very popular prog rock band, and part of the reason that they're popular is because their songs were not so bad for a type of music that doesn't really generally prize songwriting like super intensely.
Right. I mean, I remember being very grossed out by their song, because actually,
Dream Theater songs.
when I was taking
It's
guitar
probably just
lessons,
this singer. He's like an opera singer.
Yeah, I wasn't ready for it.
Yeah,
Dream
wow.
Theater was the reason I quit guitar lessons, because he was making me do Dream Theater tablature,
John
and
Petrucci.
it felt like
Oh,
fucking
jeez.
terrible homework.
It's a heavy load. He's quit the Ripper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, as someone who loves like Hella and stuff now, I wish that I would
Right.
have followed through and be able to do some sweet,
Yeah.
cool guy wanking. But
Right.
I've noticed that Dream Theater seems to be having maybe an ironic renaissance right now. People are giving Dream Theater the time of day.
Well, everything's getting a chance these days. I mean, it's not really like it's just you just wait. Something else really surprising will get popular soon too.
Hopefully, Dave Matthews.
Yeah, we're waiting for that. Yeah, funkiness still is a tough one.
Yeah.
Bad funkiness is a tough one. People
But yeah,
don't like
so
that.
you also so it's very prog. I think I can
It's
see
very prog. Yeah, it was. Some of it is like, really not that different from like quality prog rock. Yeah,
quality.
Yeah.
And yet, in my mind, a band like Dream Theater is probably not playing in 6/8. They're probably playing in like 100.
Oh, at least 9/8, probably 11/8. To be perfectly honest.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Or it's probably shifting. It's probably
right.
Shifting and permutating groups of.
Which again is just why
all
I'm
types
so
of interests.
baffled that 6/8 is worthy of being the titular.
I am too. Honestly, and they changed it from a relatively like kind of what was the name?
Rushing Rivers, because that's what he sings.
That's
in
not bad. It sounds like a country song, but it's all right.
Yeah.
Maybe they were self-conscious about it sounding too much like a country song.
I
That
think
I can see.
Maybe this points to like a lack of education about music, in that everyone the general public can hear, they can say, we released a song in this fucked up time signature 6/8, and most people are like, oh, these guys really know their shit.
You want to hear a 6/8? Go to any open coffee house, open mic right now. Someone is playing a song in 6/8, and it's gonna be terrible, and it's gonna be in 6/8. It's like for punk rock, I guess 6/8 is one of like a lesser, and I use punk rock loosely. Clearly, but it's not the go-to time feel for this kind of music.
I guess it's like sort of like go-to feel for like a doo-wop song, or I think of like the Twin Peaks soundtrack, or just some like 50s diner music.
And I don't know, when I hear 6/8, something like, if you're gonna bother referring to something as being like 6/8, it's kind of like, to me, that sort of dictates a certain type of feel, like the certain traditional relationship of a 6/8 rhythm section time feel. Whereas in this song, I mean, even off the bat, there's a lot of syncopation. There's a lot of like other beats that are sort of like occupying a similar level of intensity as the downbeat on beat 4, and then on the backbeat, sorry, on beat 4, and then there's and then it goes into the verse where it gets even more sort of backwards sounding, and it sort of takes like a full 2 rounds of it to sort of settle back into the a downbeat. And to some people, I guess that could be kind of exciting to like follow through on that kind of stuff. And there must be some level of excitement that goes along with the listener, I suppose.
But wouldn't it have been more fun if they kept the original title and then only the true heads got to geek out about the time signature?
Right, like those people on Reddit.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
The 12/8 man.
There was that guy. So let's talk about that. I sent you a Reddit link that you told me you were getting a little bit worked up over. I didn't really even read it because I didn't understand it, but someone was trying to argue that this song is not in 6/8, I guess. Is that true?
He had a fairly elaborate argument that I sort of skimmed through about it being in 12/8. And it's like, I guess if you want to say it's in 12/8, that's cool, but then you're counting to 12. If you want to count through this thing and learn how to play the song and sort of like I honestly don't know why you're worried about counting the song unless you're analyzing it on this level or trying to play it. So I don't understand why 12 would be the number that you're going for. It's clearly it's got the traditional 6/8 relationship, and if you're counting sixes, it's much easier to keep that going in your mind than counting 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's like that's horrible. That's why people say 7 instead of 7 when they're counting to 8 because
you want to get to the multi-syllable numbers.
You do not want multi-syllabic counts. It's a fucking mess. So
do you think Travis in his head is counting while he plays?
I don't think so, but he might have a click track that's going like beep boop boop beep boop boop beep boop boop.
Because
to sort
it's
of
such
help
an
him.
unheard of time signature that they really.
Yeah, he probably. I don't know. I wonder. He probably has a click. I guess they probably record.
Well,
to a
okay,
click
let's
in
do
a
this
studio
now.
Like that.
So the Blink-182, I feel like I can safely say doesn't have another song in 6/8. I'm pretty sure.
Really?
I might be wrong, but when
I'm curious as
when
hell
they
now.
did their first hiatus, Mark and Travis started a band called Plus 44.
Really?
And they have a song called Lillian, which is apparently in 6/8. So let's throw that on now and see how that works.
Yeah, please.
The place I used to live made me feel like a tourist. I couldn't coexist with the cold and suspicious. When the last remaining light was starting to filter, it seemed the perfect time to step into the future. Your heart is a grave, to be perfectly honest. Your mouth's a smoking gun, and you smile while you're twisting the knife in my stomach until everything is gone. Take all you can from me. I got reconstitution on that so
Interesting.
I haven't really listened to that song since it came out.
I didn't know that. What year is that from?
I gotta find the year of this. So that, as I'm sure everyone listening knows, Plus 44 is post hiatus the first time.
And the hiatus happened after which album?
It happened after the self-titled.
Self-titled one that was kind of colorful, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that you
Turquoise
haven't heard, I
and
think.
pink and white and black, sort of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I think there's a lot that I haven't heard.
The album came out in 2006.
Oh wow, crazy!
And it was maybe so. You were just saying how much you like the production.
Well, it's not as sort of sucked out sounding.
That was produced with Jerry Finn, the late Jerry Finn. One of his
one
of his last ones.
Jerry Finn.
Yeah, because he's a huge Blink guy too. I know.
Jerry Finn. Wait a second though. Jerry Finn. What else did he produce? Did he produce Super Drag?
Yeah.
He did?
Yeah.
I just said that it didn't sound sucked out. That was the name of one of the Super Drag singles off their first record. Oh, that's good.
Oh, there you go. That's all
Right?
I better make sure
You
that
see
he
it on there?
definitely did.
Sucked out, and you can put that on. You can play that on the cast too. It's or sorry, the pod. And that's a killer track. Oh man.
Yeah, I don't know. He's done some Super Drag. I'm sure he must have done what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think the first. Yeah, the
I
first
think he was.
Yours.
I think Jerry Finn was the perfect kind of person to make big, sort of pop punk leaning things because it sounds like it's good for the radio, but it's not like the guy who did the new one. John Feldman.
Mm-hmm.
He's from Goldfinger, and he's just I don't know. He makes everything sound like a robot.
It's a bit, it doesn't sound very human, or it sort of takes away that relatable in the room feeling at all. You don't. It's not like, it's like non-traditional rock production. It's got more. The production aesthetic seems to draw more from like top 40 pop.
I don't think they even use amps at all anymore. They just use those like Kemper
right.
things, and
which can be okay. Did you know that there's a Deerhoof record where they didn't use any amps? At least one.
Really?
Yeah, that Runners 4 album. They just used pods on the guitars.
I love pods.
Love them. Love those pods.
And you were also noting that Travis's playing was a lot less wanky back then.
Oh, it was great. I mean, he was doing a little kind of hi-hat thing that seemed like it was a practicey kind of detail, but other than that, it was like it felt really much better, and it was like kind of a pretty kind of tasteful kind of sounding thing.
And I would say in that song,
I felt really hopeful there for a second.
The 6/8 in that song too felt really nice.
Oh yeah, he to be honest, he was kind of laying it down on that track. I was not expecting that. Yeah, I gotta say, full points, boys.
So, but I guess that's
maybe they should ditch the other two.
Maybe the
or the other one.
Yeah, the other one, and go back to the guys who are in Plus 44. I don't remember who they are, but I guess that actually is more depressing because now we know that they're capable of writing a really good song in 6/8, and instead they made because to me the riff of this 6/8 song it sounds like it was just written as a stock riff to fit with this fucked up time signature that they're doing.
We're talking about the song 6/8.
Yeah. Like the other song feels like it naturally fits in, but this one is just like bum 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 bum. Like,
well, I guess one of the main differences between the two songs would be that other one that we just listened to was more of a singer-songwriter-y song. Like that's the song you can imagine a guy like writing on an acoustic guitar on his couch, and he writes it, and then he brings it to the band and he's like, hey, check this out. Whereas the other one is like, it's riffy. The other one
sounds like they forgot to write the song.
Yeah, or they wrote the song after they got all these cool riffs and parts, and like they got that first riff maybe, and then it led to like some other, the verse riff, and then that syncopated drum part came out or something. But it's kind of it's not like I feel like they probably maybe wrote that one more as a band, or maybe in the studio or with a producer's help. There's also all these extraneous sections that happen in it too. It's got all these weird sort of divergences in it and digressions, and it's kind of all sorts of dies.
I wonder if it's the insecurity of getting older that Travis just feels like he needs to just do everything all the time instead of just playing the song.
Yeah, and I feel like again there must be some level of them not really in the same. I mean, when they were younger, say in the '90s, when they were first achieving their big success, they sort of maybe felt like there was something to conquer. And for all intents and purposes, they sort of did conquer what a band like them could achieve, without turning into like a stage show like Green Day or something like that. But so by now they're just kind of free to do whatever they want, and they don't really have to worry about pleasing anybody.
Right.
They're sort of like one of those bands who's become sort of insular in the way that they just operate within the context of themselves.
They need someone saying no to them sometimes.
Yeah, right, exactly, yeah. Like there's some bands that could benefit from stuff like that probably.
But okay, finally, while we were listening to it, you brought up another interesting drummer that we've never really. Well, I think we've mentioned a bit, but major pop punk roots with him as well. Josh Freese.
Josh Freese
of the Vandals.
Yep.
Originally, who are sick, by the way.
Yeah, they're great.
But yeah, he's very much become like a proggy kind of guy, right?
Oh, he goes above and beyond any sort of like easy classification. He's one of those all around guys. He plays with Sting. I think he's now, or he used to be in A Perfect Circle.
Right. And I think
he's in Nine Inch Nails.
Yeah.
That's right. He was in Guns N' Roses, I think, for a brief time.
Oh, when Buckethead was in it?
Yeah, because he has a crazy story. I listened to a podcast interview with him, and it was he just has crazy stories and a lot of stories about Buckethead.
And Josh Freese also has some sort of weird, strangely gimmicky solo career. I remember reading about.
Right? Yeah, he does
back.
like a I Play Everything kind of record, and they're these sort of like goofy. He's kind of like a virtuoso musician, and so they're these kind of like goofy, off the wall sort of poppy punk records with like a sort of a weird like art damaged edge to them.
Right.
And he was even on I think he was on some tracks on the first Avril Lavigne record too. I'm pretty sure he was on that.
Awesome.
Yeah, him and Victor and Drizzo.
But you think that he sort of does these things in a more tasteful way?
Yeah, I mean, he sort of plays like he's got the same sort of sound sometime and like the same, like I was thinking like we were talking about who it sounded like in some of the more epic moments of the 6/8 song. And it did sort of almost sound a bit like A Perfect Circle or something, and that's what led me to think of Josh Freese as playing in that context, and so other sort of more rockin' moments that I've heard him. He can play with that sort of like somewhat overbearing style, but he just does it in a much tastier way.
Yeah.
The things that Travis would milk throughout numerous sections of the song are just things that Josh Freese might just drop in there tastefully once or twice during a section or during a tune, and it's always like, it's better to leave people wanting more in a pop context. Generally speaking, you don't want to bash people over the head with this stuff.
A curse to be that talented or to know that you can do it all the time. I mean, what if you could just do heroin all the time with no repercussions?
Well, I mean, it's like there's lots of guys who can really play that don't just shit all over their music. I mean, to put it in a certain way. I mean, it's just like there's so much stuff. Like sometimes I'll even listen to Led Zeppelin. I mean, I love Led Zeppelin, and I think like they're an amazing band and amazing musicians. But sometimes, like as a musician, I know when I'm playing, and I know when I'm playing with people I know, and you just do something on your instrument that isn't necessarily like for the song. It's just like for the playing's sake or for like a joke that you're having with someone. And sometimes I hear certain things in Led Zeppelin where I'm just like, I hear things they don't seem like they were there to make the song better. They just seemed like they were there as like a fuck around kind of move.
Right.
I hear a lot of that in this, and it's like I hear
and those
that
moments
turned,
are better when they're almost a secret too. Like if you noticed it once in a song, that might be kind of fun.
Yeah, exactly. And it just seems like that those ideas of like dicking around have been formalized and then implemented sort of rigidly and almost like unnecessarily into these pieces. Like the same thing with the last song we talked about. You could shave out sections of it and make it much better.
Yeah.
Or you could just like go in and redo a few things and make it like, I think a lot better. But then again, I think that would honestly be missing the point of what they're trying to express, which is this sort of maximalist thing. And it's kind of like a kitchen sink approach to arranging and writing.
I mean, I think we'd be better off if this song just plain didn't exist.
Mm-hmm.
There's not much to redeem here.
No, the melody it's very cloying and the harmonies are annoying. It's a bad listen overall. This one, I give it a thumbs down.
All right. Well, you've heard it here. We've got the Dadge thumbs down.
No offense, guys.
I doubt they've listened to past hour 2 of this podcast. Hopefully, they probably didn't make it through all of the TV YouTube videos that I was showing Sam earlier. So
they might have stamina. You never know.
Yeah, it's true. All right. Well, thank you so much, Dadge. I'm sure you'll be back with more of your drum expertise.
It's great to be back. I'll be back anytime you need me.
All right. Perfect.